used as a ETL tool. You can say you can write all your transformation. Okay. Uh, so whenever you are creating any pipeline, so you are writing any transformation, right? As I told you, there will be different layer in your pipeline. So first layer will be your raw layer or sources, you can tell. And then after that, you'll go on creating the multiple layers. Like after raw layer, you'll be having the staging layer, and then you'll be having the your data warehousing layer, right? So when you are creating this pipeline, so let's say for this is first layer, whether you call it raw layer or you can call it bronze, silver, gold, whatever the naming convention you can tell. So let's say this is your first layer, this is your second, and this is your third layer. So when you are doing this kind of transformation, right now, many ETL tools or many third-party tools have come to the market, and which you can use to write a good ETL pipeline. So here what we are doing. So for the ETL pipeline, we are using this Dataform. So whether you can use the Dataform, or in some project also you'll find they are using DBT. So DBT is the data build tool, and Dataform is another third party tool. Earlier, Dataform was it was a completely separate tool, and but recently Google has acquired this Dataform. So it has acquired, but still the Dataform is exist in CLI mode, which we are calling the Dataform core. And in Google Cloud environment, you will find the UI mode. Okay, so the web UI mode, or you can call it the cloud version. So this is exist inside the Google UI. Okay, so the CLI mode, you can install it on your system, on your local machine, or you can install it on the Google Cloud Shell, and you can create the development. Okay, you can you can develop your pipeline. Similarly, here in the UI mode, you don't need to install anything. Since it is UI mode, so you can directly install, you can directly configure it, and you can start creating your pipeline. Okay, so that's the difference between the CLI and UI mode. Similarly, same thing is there also in case of DBT. Okay, so DBT is just another tool, and there is not much difference between this Dataform and DBT. So DBT here also it has two version. One is core, another one is cloud version, DBT cloud. So DBT cloud is not acquired by any other cloud vendor. So it exists in the DBT only. Okay. So either you can use the DBT core or you can use the cloud. So obviously the cloud one is the UI version. Okay, so here it is UI enabled, and you don't need to install anything on your local system. So you can develop your pipeline here in the cloud. But DBT core, you can install it on your local system. So mostly if you see right now in the project, if, we are using still for the development purposes, we are using the core. Okay, because the core is the free version, but whereas the cloud is it's not free version. It comes with a plan and subscription. So different kinds of subscriptions they have, and they charge based on that. Okay, but the core, the CLI version or the core version is the free version in both the cases. So that's the use of this platform, and why in the modern era or in nowadays we are using all this fancy ETL tool, because we are right now we are working in agile mode, right? So you can integrate these tools directly with your version control environment. Okay, whether it is GitHub or it is GitLab, so you can directly integrate with any of the Git repo, and you can work on that Git repo. Okay, and then you can integrate it, like you can push it, pull it, you put your changes. So whatever you want to do, you can do that. So and everything, and in both the cases, whatever the transformation you are doing, so it will be in form of SQL file. Okay, we are only going to use the SQLS transformation. You can also use Python, but you can also you can just do the transformation using the SQL only. You don't need to do any other, you don't need to know any other languages. If you know SQL, so and little bit about the Jinja template, so you can do the transformation. Okay, so all the development, whatever you want to do, you can do it using the SQL file. And so let's see first how you can set up it using the cloud shell. So for example, so let's reload it. So in order to install it on your local system, so you need to follow some instruction. So here is the command. If you want to install the CLI versions of it, CLI version of Dataform, you can use this command to install the CLI version. And since it is already available in cloud, Google Cloud, so here is the documentation for it. Okay, so for example, so we also need to follow this documentation while setting up the data form in the UI mode. Okay, but if you want to learn about data form, why it is there, so you can go through this documentation. For example, whatever I told, like for SQL workflows and transformation, we are using it, and then you can you can connect it with the Git repository, and you can manage your code in the central repository. Then all the reuse your code, you can use the JavaScript. Uh, so there are two versions, as I told, that there is data form core, and then there are dependencies also you can define. Okay, and then what are the features if you'll see. So these are the files which you need to mention. There will be config file. So mainly three types of file will be there. One is config file. So config file will be either in the JSON or in SQLS format. Okay, and it will configure your SQL workflows. So they contain the general configuration, execution schedule, or the schema for creating new table and view. Okay, so whether you want to create your model as a table or as a view, so that you can mention in the config file. And then there is your definition file. So inside the definition file, actual your code, whatever the logic you want to implement or whatever the transformation you want to implement, so those things will go inside the definition folder. Okay, so and then there are include file. So include file, you'll have a you can create a JavaScript file, and here you'll define the variable and the constant or the function which you are going to use in your project, in your pipeline, so that you can define inside your include file. So this is the format which you have to follow. You cannot change the name of the file from definition to something else. Okay, so that will not work, because it's doing some compilation. Okay, while doing the compilation, it is creating your logical data model. Okay, so logical data model means here what we are doing, we are creating a dependency, right? So let's say this is my first data model, and from here there is a dependency. Okay, in the second data model, dependency over the first one. Okay, so while doing this compilation and while searching for the dependent variable, it will go and check inside that particular folder. So you cannot change the name of this folder. Okay, you have to use those default folder, but inside that folder, whatever the transformation logic you want to put, you can do that, you can develop that. But you cannot change this default folder name from include to something else, or from definition to circuit something else. That will not work here. Okay, so and then you can create your workflow, and you can develop your workflow, and you can compile it. So in case of so not only with the BigQuery, so because this is the ETL tool, and you can integrate this with any of the data warehousing platform. Okay, BigQuery is just one of them, but you can also integrate with Snowflake, Redshift, SQL Data Warehouse, Postgre as well. So for example, in one of the project, like we did integrate the Snowflake with the DBT. Okay, so all the data transformation we use the DBT along with the Snowflake. There is no BigQuery. So most of the projects which are running in Snowflake, so you'll find they are using the DBT. Okay, so which is another ETL tool. Okay, And then this is how I told you, like inside the config file, so you can mention whether you want to create a table or the view. Okay, if you want to create view, here in the type you need to mention the view, and then what are the columns you want to create in that table for this particular table, so that you can define here. Okay, and then inside your SQL's body, so this is the official documentation which you can go through, and then inside your definition you will have the working code or your transformation, actual transformation which you want to create. So for example, here in the config, this is a table, okay, I want to create. So and I'm referencing stored clean, so this is my reference table. From this table or from this model, I'm creating this another model. Okay, so similarly here I'm creating the from the storage clean. So while so this input, sorry, this is your actual code which you will write. Okay, but when it will do the compilation, so this for this reference, okay, because the data form logic, it will get to know that you have mentioned the reference from some model, means this is your source model. From this source model you are creating another transformation logic, okay, another model. So when you will do the compilation, so this is how it will create a compilation. Okay, so for this code, once you'll compile the code, and the compilation output will look like this. So it will create a replace table, order table here we are creating, right? And then the select as this from storage clean. Okay, so this is your source table. And then after that, whatever the transformation you want to create, you can obviously do that. And then inside the include file, as I told, there will be three files mainly. One will be your config, and another one will be definition, another one will be include. Inside the include file, you can create a JavaScript file, so where you can define the constant which you are going to use in that pipeline, in that data pipeline, so that you can define inside the include file, includes not file, include folder. And then here you can see how you can just get started. So here it will show you, like you can go to the project and then enable the Dataform API, and then you need to have this permission. Obviously, like if you have created free trial account, you will be having all the permission. So here you can see inside the definition file, it has given some sample code. Okay, and it is creating a table and creating a workflow. Okay, so if you want to migrate from the legacy data from, as I told, data from earlier was not in Google Cloud. So recently they have acquired data from, and right now also it is in a preview mode. It's not released for public. It's in preview mode, but you can use it if you have a free trial account. You can still use it, but it is in preview mode. So that's why I told, still if you see any project who where they are using Dataform, so they will be using the Dataform core mode, okay, not the UI mode. So here you can see same thing, whatever we are going to discuss, it has mentioned same thing. Okay, so first of all, let's see the hands-on using the using Cloud Shell. So if you'll see inside the Cloud Shell, and same thing you can implement in your local machine as well. Okay, because I told you, like Cloud Shell is a replica or it is similar to the VS Code. Okay, if you can run here, you can also run in your local machine as well. But when you are running in the local machine, the only thing you need is your service account and the keys. Okay, so here, so for example, if I want to install Dataform, so I can install. So this is the command, npm command you need to run to install the Dataform in your project. Okay, so you can get the command if you just Google it, how to install Dataform core. They also have uh, their page, Dataform core install in Windows. So here this is their official page, and you can see how to install it in the uh, in your local machine. Okay. So once it is installed, you can see it is installing for uh, while installing it, you could have like it was showing like it is installing for BigQuery, then for other data warehousing platform as well. Okay, so right now it has installed. Once it is installed, so you can, so there is a default project. Okay, so which you can use, for example, the bikes weather project. So here, if you want to initialize, so once you install the Dataform, then you can run the Dataform command. Okay. So for example, I want to run the Dataform initialize. So how to run it? If you can search for Dataform initialize, so it will create a demo, not a demo, but it will create a sample project. Okay. So for example, if you don't know how to use this Dataform init, so just type Dataform init help. So you will be able to get, so how, what is the actual command, how you need to use it. So for example, here it will create a Dataform project. You can see what is the use of this Dataform init, and the command is Dataform init warehouse name, whether you want to create in BigQuery or you want to create in Snowflake or AWS. Okay, so Redshift, so that you can specify in the warehouse. Then you have to, you need to specify the project directory. Okay, so what is the project directory you want to create? Okay, so once you specify that, so that is what I have specified. My warehouse name is BigQuery, project directory is bikes weather. Okay, and then these are the parameter which you need to pass, because right now I am doing the configuration setting for the BigQuery warehouse. So you need to pass the default database name, and this is a default database in which project the database is present. So from there I am extracting the database name, and then you need to write the, include the schedules as well. Along with this, there is one more parameter which you need to write, that is default location. Okay, so for example, default location is US. Either you can write US, or you can put US Central 1, Central 2, whatever you want to put, but the location you need to specify. Okay, so once you'll run this command, it will create a sample project directory for you. So for example, it will create a project directory. So with the name bikes weather, but whatever the code you are seeing, so it will not be there. It will just create a directory with this data from JSON file will be there. Okay, and then package JSON file will be there, and then your package, this data from dependencies will be there. This data from credentials will be there, and so but all this transformation what you are seeing, okay, transformation and whatever the file you are seeing inside the include, so these things you have to create based on the pipeline or the ETL pipeline which you want to create. So based on that you have to put your logic, you have to develop your logic. Okay, but it will just create a definition folder, it will create a include folder, includes folder, and this node modules create a folder also it will create, and then it will create all these dependencies. For example, the data from credentials. Okay, so for credential, it has taken my project ID. So this is the project ID. You can see this is my project ID, and location which I have specified here in the command. Based on that, it has created this credentials folder, and then there is git ignore. I hope you all know what is the use of this git ignore. So git ignore is used whenever you are pushing your changes from the development. Let's say you are doing a development in any IDE, in a Cloud Shell editor or in VS Code editor, and from there you want to push your changes to the Git, because at the end you have to push it to the to some version control tool, right? Whether it you are using GitHub or GitLab, so you have to push your code to that, right? So all this credential, like let's say I don't want to push my credentials, okay, so I don't so that's why I have put my credentials inside my git ignore file. So when I'll push the changes to my repository, so this git ignore file, since I have mentioned this in JSON, it will be ignored, it will not be pushed to my git repository. And then there is data from JSON. So here so for example, I'm the warehouse I'm using BigQuery, right? And the default schema and then default databases. So all these things it will be creating initially when you'll do the initialization. By default, it will be creating this data from the JSON file, okay? And then inside this package.json file. So here there are some dependencies it has mentioned. You don't need to worry about that. So same dependencies you can see inside this node module file, okay? But you don't need to worry about this node module file. So here they have just mentioned all the dependencies which you need to use, or you need to create your data pipeline. But here you don't have to do anything here, okay? And then so also this node module also you don't need to push to your git repository, okay? So this node module, for example, I don't want to push this node module. So what I can do, because this is the default files and server settings which it will be generated, you don't, because it's not part of your development, but you need this node module to create a data pipeline, so you don't need to push that. So what I'll do, I'll just go ahead here and I'll mention the sorry, node node module here, so that when I'll push my changes, the node module will be ignored. So and then there is package the JSON file, and then the package JSON file. So here the data form version, this is the core I told, right? That is core, and then there is UI version. I am using the core version, and which version I am using. So that is what it has mentioned here inside the 2.1.0. Okay. So right now, so this is how you can set up your initially you'll get all these files created when you will do the initialization. And then what you need to do, so you have to create your source file. So this is the standard which you need to follow. First you need to create the sources, because from the sources you will be creating the staging table, and then from the staging table you can create your report table, okay? So that like that you have to create your folders, okay? This is the standard which you need to follow. It's not hard and fast rule, like this is the naming convention which you have to follow. You can follow some other naming convention, but you have to create folders like this. Like there will be a source folder. Inside the source folder you can mention your source table, and then you can create staging this, so that someone will be able to know that the staging table, in the staging table, for example, here if you'll go inside the weather, okay, I told you inside the config you need to mention your type, okay? And this is the database public dataset, BigQuery public dataset I am using. This is my schema where this table is present, and the table name is this one, okay? And this is just the description which I have mentioned. And then inside the NYC city bike, I am using another table, okay? So this is just present in another public data set, sorry, another schema. Schema means data set, okay? And name is here is table. So I am declaring this to table, okay? So that is why I have mentioned type is declaration. I'm declaring these two table, okay? These two configuration parameter. These two configuration parameter I am using here. So for example, here if you'll see weather, this is the table, right? 2020. So if you'll go to weather, inside this I told you like what you want to create. I am creating table, and inside which schema you are creating, inside the staging. And description is just like a comment which you can mention as per the transformation which you are doing. And the column level documentation, so this is the comment which I have added, okay? So the column says this is the column docs.nyc weather. So why it is needed, you can so when you will create a documentation, so there you need to have this, okay? So to create a documentation you need to mention these things, okay? Then this is let's go to the actual logic. So in the logic, as I told you, like simple SQL, you can mention whatever the transformation you want to do. And you can see this is the same table which I have mentioned inside this weather.txt file, okay, weather.sqls file. So that table I'm using here. From this table I'm extracting the data, and all these are all constants, right, which I am using here, okay. So these constants I need to define inside my file, okay, inside the include file. So this is here I have defined my constant, date constant, rain constant, T minimum Celsius, maximum Celsius constant. So you can see this is the constant which I am using here. And then this is the simple where condition and SQL which I am using. So this is about the weather pipeline. Similarly for bike trips, I am using city bike trip, and again this is another public data set. From there I am extracting the data, okay, and I have mentioned my transformation. So here I am creating view inside the staging schema. Okay, and then after that I have my bikes weather. So if you'll see bikes weather, so for the bikes weather I'm joining these two staging table. Okay, so you can call it, this is this as a your data warehousing table, this is your staging table, this is your source table or raw table. So here what I am doing, I'm joining both bike cycle trips. So here you can see bike cycle trips and NYC weather. Okay, so these two table, okay, I'm joining, and then I'm creating another view. Okay, so inside the document you can see all the constant which I am using. So all the constants are mentioned here, and the module which I am exporting. So this is my module NYC weather. So this is the module which I'm exporting. So I have also mentioned this. Here, if you'll see, if you'll go to, let me go to BigQuery. And here you can see it created this staging data set. Now if I'll delete it, again it will create the data set. Let's delete. So once you will write your code, so what you can do, you need to compile your code. You need to compile it. So let me go to my folder. Let me go inside my folder. So it is bikes weather. And so you need to, the command is dataform compile. Okay, so this will compile your model. If you have any error while compilation, it will show you like this is the error, and you need to resolve that error. So right now you can see it is creating three data set. One is staging, okay, and this is a view. Another is inside the staging, that is bike cycle trips. This is another view, and this is a weather staging weather which it is creating. Okay, so so let me go and do a dry run. So dry run will not run your model. It will just give you like if there is any error. So it will show you that, but it will not run. So dry run mode is turned on, not running the following actions against your data warehouse. Okay, so here you can see there are three tables, and now if I'll do the run, it will actually run my model, and it will create all the tables and views. So now it is running. Okay, so my table has, sorry, my model has already run. Okay, now if I'll go to my BigQuery, so let me refresh this. So if you'll go inside the project ID, inside the staging, you can see it has created bike trips, right? And if you want to see the details, here you can see. Okay, I told you like while compilation, so that reference, from the reference it will create actual source. It will be replaced by the actual source. So this is the view. Okay, obviously you can query view as well, and here this is another view. Okay, and this is the table which it has created. Okay, so it's based on the query, so it has created a table. So this is how it will create, okay, using the data form. Whatever the transformation you want to do, you can obviously modify your code accordingly, and you can do it. Okay, any doubts till now?
No, sir.
Okay, now coming to the UI. So in the UI, so if you'll see here, so here it is all data form is already there. Okay, in the BigQuery console. So right now, as I told, it is in preview mode. It's not released for the public view. So that's why you can see it is in preview mode. And when you are creating a repository, so it will ask, so it will be able to create repository only in two location. One is US Central one, and another one is Europe. Only in two location right now it is available. And then, so how to create a repository? So we can create a repository and you can do initialization. Okay, so you can just go ahead and create a repository. So here you have to specify the repository name. And as I told, right now it is only available in two regions. Okay, so it's not fully released. So that's why it's available only for two regions.
Swagat,
And then I have already created a repository.
hello?
So yeah,
Swagat, your screen is
yeah, yeah.
it's frozen.
Okay. Is it visible now?
No, still I'm seeing the same screen. White screen with the GCP My Project, and that's all. Can you refresh it?
Uh, is it for all of you or
Yes, Sagar.
just a minute, let me
Yes, sir.
reset. You see now?
It's coming up.
Are you able to see now?
Now we can see it. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see the cursor is moving?
Yes, well, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So here, as I told, here what you need to, so this is the UI mode. Okay. So it is UI mode, or you can call it cloud mode as well. So here you need to create a repository first. Okay. So repository name, as I told, here you can specify any repository name. Okay, and then here the region, right now it is just available only for two region, because recently only they have acquired this data from, and it's not available for public. So only available for two region, and you can use any of the region. I have created a repository in the this is my repository name test, and I have created in US Central one, and this is my Git repository. I have integrated my GitHub. Just a minute, it's refreshing. So I have integrated my GitHub. Okay. So this is my GitHub, and I have integrated it with the Dataform. So how to integrate that? So first you will need to create a repository, and then you can here go ahead with the edit Git connection. Okay. So in order to use the Git, so without Git also you can work, but it's better to connect with Git so that whatever the development you are doing, you can push your changes to the Git. Okay. So right now, like if you see Git connection, so here you need to specify, you can see three things you need to mention. You need to specify your GitHub repository, okay, GitHub repository URL, and then you need to specify your branch name. You need to specify the secret, okay. So the secret is mandatory. So you can see here something it is showing. Dataform needs a secret containing a personal access token. This personal access token you need to generate from the Git, okay, to which GitHub repository you want to connect. So from there you need to create a personal access token. So that is the first step. Okay. So first step is go to your Git, create a personal access token. Okay. So using this personal access token, second step is you need to create a secret. Okay. And then third step is you can use this secret. Okay. And then you can use the URL and secret. Okay. So this is the three-step procedure which you need to follow in order to configure your Git with your GitHub. Okay. So here you can see my URL, branch name, and the secret. Okay. So first step is you have to create a access token. How to create a token? Go to your GitHub. So this is my profile. Okay, signed in as a username. Go to settings. Inside the settings, go to developer setting. Okay. So here you can see the option for personal access token. So there is fine grained token. Don't use that. That is again in beta mode. Go to token classic. Okay. So here you can see I have created another token. Okay. So I think today or tomorrow. So this token I have created today only. Okay. And you can create an expiry period for this token. So you can just click on create a token. Create a token. Okay. And then once you'll create a token, so here you have to mention some any name you can give. I have given Dataform, okay, because I'm creating this token for Dataform access. So here there is a expiration. Yeah.
Again, it's frozen.
Okay. Are you able to see my GitHub?
No, 1 second. It's coming up, I think.
Not yet.
Not
No.
No, sir.
Okay. Now.
No.
Like, are you able to see any screen, Skype screen?
No,
No.
it just blank screen within the.
Okay. Just a minute, guys. Be on the uh, meeting. I'll be joining in 1 minute. Let me disconnect and join. here now. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, now we can see.
Are you able to see the GitHub screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So here go to the setting, then developer setting. Inside the developer setting, you will be having all these options. Here you can create a personal access token. So don't go with the first option, go with the second option. Okay? You can go with the first option, no problem. But that is the new feature added. That's why you version. Go with the token classic. Here you can mention why you are using, why you are creating this token. Okay, and then when you want this token to expire, you can mention any expiration period. Obviously, this is your personal account. You can mention anything. Okay, and here, so whenever this is the scope. Scope means what access you want to give to that token. So here you need to provide repo access, okay, so that all the push pull everything can be done from the data from UI. Okay, so the minimum access you need to provide repo access. Obviously, you can give other access like admin access, public key access, but the minimum access you need to give is repo access. Okay, and then you can create a token. So right now I have already created a token. As you can see here, this is my token which I have created. So once you create a token, you will get a number like this. Okay, so this number you can copy it. Okay, so this is the number, the token access token number you will get. And then you need to go to the secret. So you can search here secret. Secret is where you can go to secret manager. So any authentication key which you have generated, that you can store inside the secret. Okay, so you can go to the secret, you can create a secret. As you can see, I have created already one secret with the name Dataform, and my secret is now enabled. So if you go inside the secret, so for example, if you want to edit my secret, so this is my secret. I don't think it will show the value which I have stored inside the secret, but you can see this secret is enabled, and the permission you can see I have given the permission. So this is the Dataform service account. As you can see here, so this is the last one. This is the Dataform service account. You need to provide this secret manager, secret access or permission to this Dataform service account. So Dataform service account will look like this. So this will be your this thing is your project number. Project number, and from where you will get the project number, other things will be same. Okay, GCP service account data from IAM, but this one is your project number. So project number, if you go to your so first of all, here you can see, so this is the permission. First you need to create a secret. So if you go to secret, you need to provide your secret. For example, I have given the name as data form, right? So here you need to specify the secret value. So for example, my secret value or my token is this one. I'll copy and paste here. And then there are other fields which you can obviously use if needed. You can create a expiry date, and you can create a secret. Once the secret is created, you will get an option to give the permission. So here you can go to grant access. You can specify your principal. For example, my principal is this one, right? I didn't replace, but here you need to mention your project number, and then go to secret manager. So this is the role which you need to provide, secret manager, secret accessor. Okay, if you will see here, I have provided that role, secret manager, secret accessor. Yeah, so the project number, how will you get? If you go to review of cloud overview in the dashboard, here you'll see the project manager, sorry, project number. Okay. So that is how you can create your service account, and then you need to create a secret. Once the secret is created, go to BigQuery. Go to Dataform. So once the secret is created, then you can do the configuration. Okay, you need to mention your GitHub URL. Okay, so where your code is present, or which Git repository you want to connect, that URL name. How to get that URL name? So if you go to your repository. So this is my URL, right? Sorry, this is my repository, and here you will get the URL. Okay, just copy it, and you can put it here, and then the branch. Okay, to which branch you want to connect secret automatically from this drop down. Once you get your secret, you'll get that secret name automatically from this drop down, and then you can connect it. Same information also it has given here. Okay. Now, once you have connected, go inside your URL. Sorry, go inside your repository. So same thing you will see here. Package.json file where that dependencies, data from dependencies will be mentioned. And so then there will be your data from JSON file. Okay. So data from JSON file where your BigQuery warehouse name and all those things will be there. And then there will be git ignore file. Okay, and other things will not be there, like include. If you'll see inside include, I have this doc.js file. This will be not there. This you have to create as per your requirement. You have to create, and then here the definition will be inside the definition. Also you can create. So I think it is moving. So for example, this is staging. Inside the staging, I have NYC weather. Inside sources, I have weather. So let's create okay, let's do it here. So here, if I'll create, let's say, create a directory for reporting. Okay, so here, whatever I have done here, I will be inside reporting. I have created this bike weather. Reporting, create a file. So here you can mention this file. And not reporting, it's report. Now you can see it is showing some error, maybe compilation error. So you can see the error. It is compiling and it is showing you error. The dependency does not exist because I have not added the source. I have not added. So let me add inside the sources. I need to add NYC. So here you can do the development on the UI itself. But again, you can obviously do, and you can run it here, and then you can push it. Okay, I'll show you. And then you need to create bike strips data inside the staging. 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 Bikes, weather. So now see the error has gone, right? Compilation is successful because it has found the source repository. And now here you can commit your changes. So for example, right now you can see this is my repository, right? And inside the definition, you'll see the latest changes are not there. For example, the staging, I have just one file, and then the report folder is not there, right? So right now, if you want to run it, you can go to execution and you can just click on start execution, run with full refresh. Okay, so here you can see what it is going to do inside the declaration. So this is what you have mentioned, and then there are views, there are tables which you are creating. Let's start execution. I think I may not have the permission also. Let me copy this service account. If it is throws any error, then I'll have to provide the permission. Successfully created. You can see it has failed December. Yeah, it has failed. So if we'll go here to view, you can see access denied, right? Does not have a jobs create permission in the project. So what you have to do, you can go here, go to IAM, grant access to, go to BigQuery, BigQuery admin. You can give just job create permission, not admin. Anything is fine. So let me restart again. Patient. So AI analytics, cost view, AI analytics solution. I think you can obviously run it based on the error. It's not very critical error. I think here that AI analytics using, yeah, here just delete it because these two things will be created by default. Okay, when you create it, when you initialize it UI, so this first and second view will be created by default. Okay, can just ignore it. And there was something package.json. Let me change it as well. And start execution. To execution. Again, it has failed. Okay. So you can see it is failing because of not having the required permission. And Dataform. You can obviously correct that and can run it. So just give it editor permission because it will be not service data form basic editor permission. Let's try again. Okay, again it has failed. So you can just give the permission like the owner permission or editor permission, and then you can try it. Or if you're not is happening, since it is using the public dataset, just remove the public dataset and use your dataset from the project itself, and then it will be able to run. So after that, so that is how like you can debug it and you can execute it. Then the thing is how you can push it. So for example, here I have added some changes, right? So you can see here it is asking me whether you want to commit the 6 changes. So while committing, I can also provide some comment like adding changes for bike weather. This is the comment I can provide and I can commit to my GitHub. So once you are committing, so there are two branches here you can see. One is main, another one is the test. So right now, whatever main is my default branch, okay, and stage is my sorry, test is my other branch, okay. So whatever the code you are committing, it is committing to your test branch, okay. So if we will see here, it is committing to your test branch, okay. If you will go to test branch, so here you can see one commit behind, and you can see you can create a pull request to merge from the test to main, okay. Push to remote branch. So once you have done the commit, then you need to push your code. So right now you have pushed your code, right? It will ask you to create a PR. PR means pull request. So pull request, you can see test had some recent changes, right? So you need to compare that test. Here you can see it is comparing the test with main, and you can create a pull request. So pull request, once you create a pull request in the project, it will go to your project other member, and they will they will check what are the changes you have done. Okay, and based on that, if you want, you can so they'll after the confirmation, you can click on the confirm merge, and then your changes will be merged. Okay, right now you can see it is merged. If I'll go to my definition, I can see the report folder, right? So now it has come from the, you can see it has merged from the test. So here you can see merge pull request from this branch. Okay, so this is how you can do the CI/CD as well as while developing your code or while creating your pipeline. Okay, any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. Then I'll be sharing all this code with you. You can also try. Okay. So again, we'll see some demos using the DBT as well. DBT also same thing. Once you understand here, you'll be able to understand the DBT as well. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.